Frank and Yeti Show.
And we ready like offense like.
Welcome to week 9 of the Frank and Yeti College Football Show. I got here Chris Brown and Ree. And we got a great slate of games for you today. We're going to feature 4 teams in the top 10 in college football and 2 teams that are undefeated still in the season in college football. Last week, we had Gator as our guest. You and Gator did great. Y'all went 4-1. I went 3-2.
Yeah, can't be perfect, but I'm getting there.
You're getting there, and I'm not doing great. But anyway, that makes me have 23 out of possible 35 on the year. Yeti, 21 out of possible 35 on the year. So we're getting there.
I'll take it.
You'll take it. I'm going to do better this week. Let's start with game number 1. UCF at Temple. UCF is 5-2. Temple, 5-2. UCF is a 9.5 point favorite. Yeti, tell me about it.
You've got pretty evenly matched teams, both 5-2. Record-wise, they're there, but as we see each week in college football, you set that record aside. This is 2 teams that's got to go heads up. Each week we see a powerhouse fall. So even though these teams aren't 2 powerhouses, I see Central Florida as the second best team in the state of Florida. You've got big colleges there that should really be strong. These guys are doing it. The Temple Owls, unless you're just a super Temple fan, you're going to look at them and look at their record. Look at who they've beat. I mean, Temple has beat Maryland, the number 21 team. They've also beat number 23 Memphis. Then you got Central Florida that beat Stanford, which right now Stanford is down mediocre, but started with a really good future. When the season started, they were really shining. Central Florida at one point ranked as high as number 15 before they lost to Pitt and lost to Cincinnati. So your 2 losses hurt you really bad because they're not even in the top 25 now. But you've got 2 strong teams, so it should really be a good game. 9.5 point difference or favor there in the, like you said, 6 p.m. game. I'm going Central Florida. I just feel like they're the stronger team. They're putting up more points. They're averaging 44.3 a game. Whereas Temple's on 28.6, which is strong for who they're playing. They do what they need to do to win. Mm-hmm. But I see Central Florida in this one.
I like that. But Temple, UCF's the second strongest team in the state of Florida, maybe the 3rd strongest team in the state of Pennsylvania, since they've already lost to Pitt and about to lose to Temple. You know how it is. But look. We got a Temple team that looks like to me they can't quite get it done on the road, but they're getting good home wins. This is a home game. They just went on the road to play SMU in Dallas, and they lost that game 21-45, wasn't even close. Earlier this year, lost to Buffalo at Buffalo 22-38, but got great home wins against Maryland 17-20 and against a great Memphis team 20-30. So really what I'm leaning on is the fact that these guys play hard at home. They're really a rugged blue-collar team. Jeff Collins, their coach, is a defensive-minded coach. UCF is definitely a great offensive squad. Jeff Collins going to have to mix up the blitzes, come after the quarterback, cover the receivers. I think he understands what he has to do as a defensive coach, and I think he can do that. So I'm rolling with Temple all the way. 9.5 point underdog, but I'm rolling. Ree looks good in her pink, as we all do.
Thank you.
Breast cancer awareness. So, Ree, what you got?
For me personally, that's a tough call. Excuse me. You got 2 teams. It's pretty much neck and neck, tied. Both 5-2. Both 2-1 in the conference record. I'm really liking the way that Coach Josh is pushing his team in the direction as far as points and everything goes. But you got Temple on the other hand, play pretty well. Like you said, they have a good defensive team, but I'm really liking UCF's offensive team, so we're gonna go with UCF.
UCF.
See them as a stronger team. I mean, you got to look at Yes, Temple is a defensive team, but UCF is just, man, they're putting points on the board.
They are. In bunches.
It'll be a mix. I mean, you've got to think, we're going into week 9. There's tape to watch. You find the holes and the weaknesses, and these teams train. I mean, these guys are going to school for football. And, yes, they're there to get an education also, but if you could spend a week studying your opponent and see where the cracks are, you do it, and you learn, and you go, and you show up, and you earn that free education. The over and under on this one started out at 62.5. As of today, the line's at 61. I think that Temple's defense will slow down UCF's offense. Both will score points, but I don't think it'll be huge. I'm going to go under on that 61. I see about 55 points total in this one.
Excellent, man. And we got a old school classic here for game number 2. A 5-1 Notre Dame team going to a 5-2 Michigan team in the big house. Tell me about this. This is an old school classic.
This is a classic. It's every year. This is definitely on my bucket list. I would love to go to the big house and watch this game. I'd really like for the standings to be better and Michigan to be stronger, but Michigan has just been my team. Secretly or not secretly for years. I've pulled for Big Blue. This year, man, I love the guys, but I lose faith in them. To watch the talent that's there, but to see how they just come unglued. It's like we were talking, Shea Patterson has got the arm, he's got the sense about it, but when he gets rattled or he gets rushed, he snaps and just throws the ball. And he's got 9 TDs on the year, thrown for the year, but he's got 4 interceptions. Now that doesn't sound like a lot of interceptions, but you can't afford to make these mistakes. Notre Dame has the glue together. Ian Book, he's a thinker. I feel like Notre Dame has the running game. They have the passing game. Book makes the difference by when he's rushed, he moves. When he's pushed, he thinks, and then he does. So I feel like, even as a strong Michigan fan, Notre Dame's going to take this one. There's a touchdown difference in the spread. Depending on which number you look at, everybody's got it listed as a different number, but it's a 6:30 game. Both teams you expect to see playing during the daylight.
The spread, that's the favorite is Michigan, actually.
At their house, but and that's just one of those home field give-me's. If you look at the numbers and the breakdowns, I'm afraid that it's Notre Dame's going to come out ahead.
Notre Dame, traditional American football, the legendary Frank Lehigh, the inspirational Lou Holtz, the great Era Parisian, and the original Newt Rodney. No other program has this kind of lineup of coaches in the history of college football. Nobody does. We're talking about 4 great Notre Dame coaches, all Hall of Fame inductees. Brian Kelly would like to be the next. He'd like to be the next.
He's got the makings.
He got the makings of possibly being the next. His team made it to the Final Four last year. He's appeared in some national championship games. So this Notre Dame team is good. They got 1 loss. They're not really out of the hunt yet. I like them in this game because of Chip Kelly. Brian Kelly, excuse me. I like them in this game because of Brian Kelly. I like them because they've won the last 2 matchups also. Brian Kelly won this game in 2014. He also won this game in 2018. So here we go again. It's in Michigan. Look, Michigan's a tense place to play, but Brian Kelly, attention to detail, offensively and defensively. He's a great coach. I think he's one of the top 10 in the country. I like Notre Dame in this game, basically because of him. And also, I don't know of Brian Kelly to lose games where he has the better team. And I think most people can agree that Notre Dame is probably the better team.
At this point, yes.
They would have to make some mistakes. They would have to help Michigan, and I can't see that happening. So I'm going Brian Kelly and going Notre Dame all the way. Rick?
Okay. Well, I kind of like both teams, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you when you say Notre Dame is the greater team. True, they're 5-1, and Michigan's 5-2, but I'm gonna go with Michigan on this one. Michigan, in my opinion, has a better defense.
That's noted.
Has a better defense.
True.
And I personally think that Harvard, the coach, I don't think he's gonna take another loss. Not no time soon. He's kind of big on his players, pushing through. So I'm gonna have to go with Michigan in this one for me.
That's a good pick because honestly, he can't afford to lose.
He can't afford it. I discussed that with a coworker that's a hardcore Notre Dame fan. As a coach of Michigan, you're hired to win everything because of the history of that game. But coming off of what they've had over the past decade, at this point, it's your job to beat a block of teams. Notre Dame, number 1. Ohio State, number 2. Michigan State, number 3. You don't have to win it all, but at this point, you have got to beat these 3 teams to keep that job. And unfortunately, Harbaugh's not done it. I mean, just every year, winning records mean nothing. When you get into a caliber of this team, Michigan and their history, it's not a matter of, we went 9-3. That's push that off the table. Mm-hmm. In a caliber of rank in this Big Ten conference, Ohio State and your Wisconsin team and your Michigan team and your Michigan State, they expect you to go all the way. They want to see a 0 at the end, not a -1, -2, -3. In the Big Ten, Ohio State's doing it. Michigan is not. Notre Dame, luckily, they're not in a conference, so they don't have anybody to match up with as far as in their conference. But Notre Dame, historically, as you said, the coaches, the names speak for themselves. They proved what they were there to do. Michigan had those coaches. I mean, you got Schembechler. You could name the coaches that did what they were supposed to do. Harbaugh has the knowledge to do it. I'm just afraid at this point, over the past few years, he's not beat the teams that he's got to beat. There's teams that you want to beat. There's teams that you've got to beat. And Harbaugh's not done it. So I would say his pants are getting hot simply because he's not winning those games. Over and under on this one started at 51.5. It's down to 51. It's going to be big. I'll say over on that one. Shea Patterson's going to throw the ball. Notre Dame's going to rush him. They know they're going to rattle him. He's going to throw the ball. I'm afraid that Notre Dame's going to come away with 3 takeaways in this game. I mean, I'm already feeling that. I would love to go to this game and see it personally. So if you need me to go as your guest, let me know. I can go. Only problem is I need you to pay. Yeti in Ann Arbor. We're going to the top. But I'm picking Notre Dame. You got Notre Dame. I like your Michigan call. I'd love to see the Wolverines win. I hate to lose faith in my team, but as a picker, I got to do it. Over and under, I'm going over on 51. I'd probably see 60 points in this game.
The next one's a tricky one. I had to think about this one for a while. We got a 5-2 Indiana and a 4-3 Nebraska, homestand in Nebraska, but Indiana is a 2-point favorite. Yeah,
they are favored in there. If you look at their numbers, Indiana's the stronger team, and we're not even talking basketball. Hoosiers football.
Hoosier football.
Is that something you say together? Indiana has lost 2 games, but you look at who they lost to. They lost to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. They lost to Michigan State. Both unbelievable teams. Michigan State kind of on the skids, but still a strong team. Nebraska lost to Ohio State also. Lost to Colorado. Lost to Minnesota. So the games that they've lost have been heavy hitter games. Nebraska came in. They were looked at this year. I mean, they started the season at number 24. They were projected to do something. The coaches there have it, but they haven't put it together. It's going to take a year or 2 to do that. So in this game, I'm going with the numbers and going with Indiana. Hoosiers at 2:30.
It's hard for me to make this game out, really. Both starting quarterbacks are questionable for this game. That's Adrian Martinez for Nebraska, the do-it-all, dual-threat quarterback, and Michael Penix, who is also a dual-threat quarterback for Indiana. Both of those guys are questionable for this game. The backup quarterback for Indiana is Peyton Ramsey, and he really puts Indiana in a very good situation because he's a 2-year starter. So Michael Penix is a new guy in. He beat him out during the fall. He took over, but these past couple of years, Indiana's had good football teams. Peyton Ramsey has been the starting quarterback. That's a solid 1-2 threat. You really don't have to worry about losing your starter. Now, whether these guys, Indiana don't have to worry about which one plays. Nebraska has to worry about whether Adrian Martinez is going to be there or not. To me, that's too much uncertainty. I think either way, whether Adrian comes and plays or whether he doesn't, I think Nebraska's in trouble. They don't have a chance to win if he doesn't play. They have a little better chance to win if he does play. It's going to be a close game if he does play. I just like Indiana a little better in this one, especially with the uncertainty of whether he is going to play or whether he's not going to play. So I definitely got Indiana in this game all the way. Ree?
Well, looks like I'm going to bandwagon you guys. I'm going Indiana as well. I like Nebraska. I don't too much like their numbers right now. Also, Nebraska has a lot of players out, currently out and questionable at the time, and that's not too good for the team. They're good players at that. So, with that being said, like I said, I'm going to have to go with Indiana on that one. I'm liking their numbers. They're 5-2, and they're also in the conference. Conference kind of shaky. We got 2-2 for the conference, but I think they might pull it through better on this go round.
All right. Yeah.
All the way across the board, Indiana. Get on that wagon.
Yep.
Plenty of room in here.
I'm feeling it.
Over and under on this one's 54. It's been pretty solid at 54. That's a lot of number to know that we've got kind of questionable on quarterbacks. So I'd say because of the situation that we're looking at with the quarterback uncertainty, even though Indiana's got a backup starter with experience, Indiana's going to win, of course, but will they get to the 54 mark? I don't think so. We'll probably be in the mid-40s. Let me steal that back. We're going to go under on the 54, probably looking at a mid-40s game.
I like that.
Right.
Let's talk SEC. Let's talk Big Cat football, Tiger on Tiger. 6-1 Auburn at 7-0 LSU. LSU an 11.5 point favorite over the very defensive Auburn. What you got, Yeti? What do you think?
Man, you're talking a game that is disrupted because of time. You know that in Baton Rouge, they like to turn the lights on and get wild in there. But today, because of TV time, this is a 2:30 game.
No.
Yeah, late lunch game. So we saw LSU play Mississippi State at 2:30. Did not come out on fire like they do with 100,000 strong in Baton Rouge. But they did what they needed to do to get the job done. You're talking about records broken. Joe Burrow threw 4 touchdowns, set an LSU record. So you've got a team that has it together. Ranked number 2 right now. Me and you discussed earlier why they're ranked number 2. They are a strong team. They are a dominant team, both offensively and defensively. They've got it together. Auburn coming back from, kind of bouncing back from that Florida loss. I thought Auburn had it together until Florida came out, and that first play when the defense just come loose on Auburn, and it's like they dropped the towel, and they didn't, and they were standing there naked and didn't know what to do.
But they bounced back.
They came back and stood strong.
Arkansas.
That's right, but then again, it's Arkansas. I got LSU in this one. They're going to do it at home. They're going to be in front of another 100,000 plus audience. I think Auburn will swap to the War Eagle this weekend, but I don't know that it'll be enough to take LSU. LSU's got the glue.
They got the glue.
They got the glue.
This is LSU all game long. This right here. Burrow, 300-yard passing touchdown to Jefferson. It is just all day long. Yeah, 300-yard passing touchdown. Number 3 in total offense, number 2 in scoring offense, number 2 in passing offense, averaging 386 passing yards per game. Jumpman Joe Burrow. This right here, all game long. The offense looks good. The defense could be suspect at times, but we're still talking about a great team. Definitely worthy of the number 2 spot. Auburn defense is still, I feel like, probably the second best or maybe even the best defense in the SEC, and they are fully intact. I mean, there is not an injury on this defense anywhere. And so Florida came into that game with a lot of players out on defense. Actually, the top 2 players were out in that game. So I actually feel like this Auburn is going to keep it closer than 11.5 points, I feel. It probably better or closer than the Florida game for sure, because of the defense that they have and the fact that they actually have everybody there. But in the end, on the road, young quarterback, and he's playing well. But LSU, just too much offense. Too much offense, a veteran back there, quarterback in the team. They can't lose at home, and they won't. So that's what I'm rolling with, LSU. Ree?
Well, looks like I'm going for Auburn. Yeah, they've been having a pretty good run. I'm liking the course they're running. True, they did have to take a big loss, but like I said, I'm with them. I've been riding them, so I'm gonna keep going with it.
Oh,
I like Auburn.
I know why you got beat up now.
I'm liking Auburn. LSU, great team. They're on a roll. Granted, but go Auburn.
No room for you on that wagon.
Against them two, no, not on that wagon.
Best of luck. Best of luck. 59.5 points over and under on this one. I'll see it. I see LSU putting up 30 plus. I see Auburn putting points on the board. LSU's got the defense, but Auburn, they're going to put it together. Will they do 20, 21 points? I'd say it's going to be close. But 59 and a half. I'm going to go over, but not by much. We're taking LSU 230. Come on, 230 game. Boo! Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Wisconsin at Ohio State. I mean, need I say more? I have been waiting on this game all season. I've been waiting. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is my favorite game of the year so far. I've been anticipating this game in that fashion. 6-1 Wisconsin at a 7-0 Ohio State. The line's crazy. Ohio State's 14-point favorite. Yeti.
I was looking forward to this game until noon Saturday, when Wisconsin showed up or didn't show up.
They didn't show up.
But you look at what it is. It's just like everybody this season. You don't prepare for the games you think that you got in the bag. And when you realize that it's that close, it's too late to turn the gas on. If you show up at 50% because you think you've got it in the bag, that's when losses happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think you got the W, it turns into the L. Wisconsin has got everything to prove this week. Ohio State, Justin Fields is just having an amazing year. I mean, 1,492 yards, 22 touchdowns, 1 interception. 1. I mean, simply, that's plain and simple. You're at that close to perfect. I mean, you got Dobbins, the receiver there, 947 yards. I mean, you're looking at a man with 1,000 yards already this year, and you're not in the double-digit games. So they're doing the numbers. As a Michigan man, I cannot say I'm going for Ohio State. I think Wisconsin, after beating Michigan, after having a rough week of thought they had it and lost it, they're going to come out. I wouldn't say they're going to pound Ohio State, but I feel like they're going to keep it close enough, and it's going to be a game. Even if my Wisconsin Badgers do not win, I'm still pulling for them 100%. Come on, Badgers.
Come on, Badgers. In a country where flash and dash and offense has pretty much taken precedence, don't worry. Big Ten still plays football the old school way. With that being said, I'll explain to you. 4 Big Ten teams are ranked in the top 5 in scoring defense. 4 Big Ten teams. That is number 1, Wisconsin, number 1 scoring defense in the country. Number 2 scoring defense in the country is Ohio State. The number 3 scoring defense is Penn State. And number 5 scoring defense is Iowa. It's a defensive league. This game is all about defense. Make no mistake about it. It's mano a mano. It's all game long. It's going to be like that. Ohio State, they could work around Wisconsin if they wanted to. I feel like they're a little faster, but they ain't going to do that. These guys are going to line up, and the more physical player, more physical team at the end of the game is going to be the one standing. And that's just all it is to it. Ohio State is the only football team that can claim top 5 in scoring offense, top 5 in total offense, top 5 in total defense, top 5 in scoring defense. That is number 2 in total defense, number 2 in scoring defense, behind Wisconsin, who is actually number 1 in total defense and number 2 in scoring, and number 1 is scoring defense. And Ohio State is number 5 in total offense and number 3 in scoring offense. Also to note, they are number 3 in rush offense, averaging 287 yards a game.
Putting the miles in.
Number 3 in rushing offense, 286 yards. That's a 286 yards a game average behind Air Force and Navy, other option teams. So it's an old school matchup. It's a power football pro set style of game that Wisconsin plays, and the prototypical triple option team in Ohio State. Smash mouth football. I like Ohio State because I feel like they're a little faster on the perimeter, and they have that option to go to if they need to. But this game gonna be played in the trenches, and it's gonna be fun. You thought Auburn and Florida was crazy? This is gonna be. There may not be people standing at the end of this one. Anyway, Ree, what you got?
Big game. Major game. Okay, so what I'm looking at, I like Wisconsin. I like Ohio. Ohio is doing tremendous. I'm talking about no losses. The numbers are great. Team's great, offense and defense. Then you got Wisconsin. Actually, both teams have a sickening amount of players that's either out or being questionable at the moment, especially Ohio State.
Yeah.
We got a lot of players injured or in a questionable state, which is not too good. It's not looking too good as far as that. But I'm probably gonna have to go with Ohio State.
Okay. You think they're deep enough to still fill in the gap?
I think they're deep enough. I think the team is strong enough to still fill in the gap. Like I said, we had a lot more questionable than that was out, so that hasn't been determined just yet. But at the same token, I don't think they're not gonna let that 7-0 pass up. They're not trying to make it 7-1. So I think they're gonna try to keep that streak going.
The best part about this game, it's going to be a great game, defensive game. Your offense is going to come out and give it all they got. Defense is going to overwhelm in this game. 11 a.m. You get to start your football day with this one.
That's great.
It get you hyped up, pumped up, and going. Over and under is 51. I'm going to go over on that one. Ohio State's going to do their best to hit that number themselves. They're going to try to bust that number 3 and slide into that number 2, number 1 spot. But I see that 51, not even going. I say 60 plus.
Whew. Awesome. Look, thank you so much for joining us for week 9 of the Frank and Yeti show. Get my man Yeti here. Reed, thanks for joining us.
Not a problem.
And we will see you next week, week 10.